Hi, and welcome to No Place Like It, a podcast on fictional homes. That's right, we are back exploring imagined living spaces. I'm your host, Talia Oleg, and since Halloween is just around the corner, we'll be visiting witches' homes. In stories about witches, their house is often the main setting for their tale. The Sanderson sisters in Hocus Pocus have their cottage. The chilling adventures of Sabrina shows the Spellman aunts living with their niece at a delightfully gothic house. Thousands of witches and wizards spend the majority of the year at Hogwarts in the Harry Potter series. I could go on, but I think you get it. Witches' homes are an integral part of their stories. With so many examples available, I chose to focus on the Bishop House in the All Souls Trilogy and the Owens House in the Practical Magic series. In the first book of Deborah Harkness's All Souls Trilogy, titled A Discovery of Witches, the witch, Diana Bishop, is back in the home where she grew up, the Bishop House in Madison, New York. She's brought her vampire partner with her, and the first thing you need to do is make sure the house gets accustomed to having a strange creature inside of it. When the house is adjusting to a new person, it bangs its doors, opens its windows, rearranges the furniture. Essentially, it has a mind of its own. Diana admits the unpredictable nature of the house made her not want to have friends over, so she spent her high school years hanging out at the mall instead, which I'm sure many of us relate to, even if we didn't live in magical houses. The Bishop House also anticipates the needs of its occupants, setting up rooms for its guests and hiding whatever they don't want others to see. At one point, Diana's aunt Sarah says the house usually knows our business better than we do. We soon find out that it is not unique in this aspect, as a visitor shares that her witch grandmother's house was the same way. The witches' homes in the world of the All Souls Trilogy may be unpredictable and entirely out of the control of its inhabitants, but the Owens house in Alice Hoffman's Practical Magic series is a bit more in tune with its occupants. When their ancestor Maria Owens hired 12 carpenters to build her a house, she instructed them to use 15 different kinds of wood in the paneling, ensuring the magical elements within these particular woods would combine in all sorts of ways to cast charms on the house. An example would be a protective charm that keeps the house from being damaged in a hurricane, even while it damages every other house in the street. There are also no clocks within, which makes it seem as though time goes at a different pace within the house, allowing the people who live in it to abide by their own timeline. Essentially, the Owens women are living in a house they have power over, unlike the bishops, who are living in a house trying to gain power over them. Although the Bishop House appears to only have a few occupants, Diana's aunt Sarah and her partner Emily, it's actually filled with many of its past inhabitants in the form of ghosts. Diana occasionally talks with the ghosts of her grandma, great-grandmother, and the many bishop women that came before her. When Diana starts to fully come into her own magic, the ghost of her ancestor, Bridget Bishop, sees her and says, "Welcome home," not only as a greeting, but as a way of acknowledging her pride in Diana finally accepting her powers. This highlights the generational connection seen everywhere in witch stories. Matriarchal ancestry of witches has been established as a vital part of witch stories, and the Bishop House demonstrates the way this part is intrinsically tied with their homes. There is also something we see in the Practical Magic series. Practical Magic starts by saying that Owens women have been blamed for everything that has gone wrong in town for more than 200 years. During these 200 years, the Owens family has lived on Magnolia Street, in a house which their ancestor Maria Owens built when she came to Massachusetts in 1680 with her baby daughter and enough money to hire 12 carpenters. Unlike the Bishop house, the Owens house is not haunted by the ghosts of its previous occupants, although it is haunted by those disgusting animals we call mice, who eat away at the tablecloths. While there aren't ghosts in the Owens house, the presence of its original inhabitant is ever present throughout. Maria's portrait hangs on the wall. Her black cast iron cauldron in the kitchen is used regularly by Frances Owens and her sister Bridget, or Jet Owens. There were also blue stones in the garden, which Maria brought with her when she first moved in. One thing that is common to both book series is that one room in each house is set apart as the main space in which the witches practice their craft. For the bishops, it's the still room where they keep their very old grimoire, which traces back to 1617. There we also see the tools of the modern witch: slow cookers to make oils and potions, coffee grinders and blenders for pulverizing herbs, and coffee makers for brewing infusions. There is a black cauldron in the storeroom, but Diana indicates it's for old time's sake, standing as a symbol of traditional witchcraft. We learn it is in this still room that Diana faced many humiliations while growing up, because it is where her powers as a witch were tested and where her aunt Sarah tried to teach her spells and magic. It is where Sarah directs Diana to light a candle using her powers, only to find she is unable to. Diana's frustration in not being able to perform basic spells leads to her refusing to practice witchcraft, thus denying her identity as a witch. Later in her life, when Diana understands her powers better, she enters the still room and she is able to rewrite those memories and reclaim her identity as a magical and powerful creature. Although there's no swearing off of witchcraft in practical magic, the spells performed in the Owens family's kitchen lead to Sally Owens and Julian Owens swearing off a different kind of magic. Although the Owens family is apparently the cause of everything going on in town, Frances and Jet are regularly approached by the local woman and asked for love spells or love potions, whether it's to make a man fall in love with them, or to steal a married man from his wife, or to make their cheating husband return. Whatever it is, the women of the town go to Frances and Jet to resolve their complicated love situations. Whenever one of these women approaches the house, Frances and Jet send their nieces Sally and Jillian upstairs so they won't see or be part of the witchcraft. Sally and Jillian, however, find a spot in the back staircase where they can hear and see what's going on in the kitchen. After seeing woman after woman sobbing and crying about her love life, Sally and Jillian each vow to never fall in love. Of course, when they grow up, this promise doesn't hold up, and when Sally does fall in love, the house changes and becomes warm and cheery, almost as if it is being bewitched. For both Diana Bishop and Sally Owens, these spaces in which magic is conducted, the still room and the kitchen, are at first places that evoke negative memories and feelings. When they grow up, these places become the sites of their triumph and happiness, respectively. The still room goes from being Diana's reminder of humiliation to the spot where she fully realizes her powers as a witch. Sally goes from seeing constant heartbreak in the kitchen to experiencing love in a house that has changed along with her. A difference between the Bishops and the Owens that I find interesting is each family's relationship to those outside of their house, specifically those non-witches in their community. The Bishops don't reveal their powers to those outside of their home or their coven. Diana doesn't even tell her best friend she is a witch until he asks her directly what she is, with many generations of women keeping their true identities hidden from non-magical beings, all centered in this one house. It follows that the Bishop House is great at keeping secrets. It holds on to items that are no longer in use, such as Emily's crafting, and also for safekeeping. The house gives Diana items it's been holding on to for years and decades even, revealing it not only keeps secrets but retains the family history within itself. In contrast to Diana's hiding her witchiness, Sally Owens and Jillian Owens are regularly mocked, teased, shunned by their classmates and their aunts, never invited to town events. Kids in town call them witches and treat them with derision. The Owens family are not just known to be witches, but, as the opening line in Practical Magic states, are often blamed for stuff going wrong, since it must be their magic interfering with the natural order of things. Although the Owens family have lived in the house on Magnolia Street for centuries, the house does not itself retain the records of their family history. Instead, Frances, as a young girl, must go to the library to find out more about her family. The rare book room at the town library contains information about her family's history, as well as Maria Owens' Book of Spells. This seems to be in direct contrast to the Bishop House, where Diana and Sarah can just ask the house or its ghosts about their family history. And of these differences, though, one thing is the same for both families. Whether their community knows they're witches or not, whether their family history is in their house or not, they feel most comfortable honing and performing their craft at home, and it is in their respective houses that their magic comes alive. Those of you who've listened to and watched previous episodes of this podcast know there was a tiered subscription which included a fiction club as well as other exclusive features. Over the past few weeks, I've decided to remove this subscription and the club. There will be a subscription membership coming soon on the podcast Patreon page. You can find the scripts and research references at patreon.com/noplacelikeit. Next episode, we'll be exploring the castles, houses, and various living abodes of fairy tales. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, rate, and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever platform you use for podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.